Today, I'm going to try making the largest sword I've ever made. And trust me when I say this, it's gonna be big. What I'm gonna need for this build is some of the thinnest and some of the thickest sheets of cardboard I've got. But at the moment, I need the largest. So, I'm going to go grab that, and let's begin. As you can see, I've now got my sheet of cardboard, and it's a big one. Now, I'm a tall person, and this thing is nearly as tall as I am, so you know this sword is going to be big. Ugh.
As you can see here, I'm measuring out the length and width that I want this sword to be. It's going to be fairly wide, but I'm going to fold it in half later, which will make it a bit easier to work with. My ruler is also a bit too short for a project of this size, so I go back multiple times to make sure everything lines up correctly. Using this neat little tool that I've got, I then proceeded to cut out the blade.
This next bit is going to be a little interesting, because what I need to do here is I need to make the handle to my sword. And the materials I have here is a sheet of double corrugated cardboard, which will hopefully give the handle both thickness and a bit of extra strength compared to single corrugated cardboard. But the handle itself has got to be fairly large, because the sword is really large. It needs to be able to hold the weight properly. I also want to be able to hold it with one hand, so it's got to be fairly light. The problem is, though, this is my expected handle size. This is a template that I just made out of a sheet of single corrugated cardboard. I'm not planning on using this in the completed build, but as you can see here, it's huge. It's like a pizza paddle thing, but it's got what I need. It's got a large surface area in the front that will act as the anchor for when I'm securing the sword and handle together. And it's got a very long handle, so I can choke it up to close and have it at the back to hopefully balance it out a bit. Once this is all put together, this is probably still going to be really, really heavy. So I may have to go in and cut pieces off, like this right here. I don't think I'll keep that. I'll probably have to drill some circles into it to lighten the load. I'll have to do something to make this thing lighter. But for now, I'm going to trace out this handle onto this sheet of cardboard probably about 6 times, so I can have 6 handles that will eventually glue together in shape. So let's get started with that.
Now this was surprisingly annoying to do. I wanted to make sure that I could get as many pieces out of this as possible, but the way things were shaped made it a bit confusing to look at. After fumbling about for a little while with the handle, I decide to work on the blade again. Here you can see me tracing out the spine, which I'm going to score with my box cutter and fold over to make the shape of the blade. When that was done, I needed to trace out where the edge of my blade would go. Then I'll cut those sections out. We're jumping right into the next part. What I'm going to be doing here is tracing out circles on the blade itself. They're actually pretty important to how the finished project looks, and you'll see why soon enough. So, these two sheets of cardboard I've got here are going to be templates for the handle portion of the blade, and it is very important that these two pieces remain as similar as possible. A lot of things need to line up properly if I want this sword to look nice. After double checking my handle template to see if it matches the sword, it's now time to use some spray glue and start piecing stuff together. I messed up a bit when sticking the two sheets together, so they're not perfectly aligned, but it's something I can easily fix. I also cut out the templates from earlier, glued them on, and now I'm going to use my scroll saw to cut everything out. As you can see, I've now finished up my sword handle. I've tried to remove as much material as I feel comfortable with, and I hope this thing will be sturdy enough to hold up the full weight of my sword. But now that I've gotten this complete, I can now move on to some of the final assembly. Let's get to it! Because the sword needs to be rather light, I left the blade portion of it as hollow as possible. What I'm gluing in right now are some sheets of cardboard that will act as supports for the center of the blade, so it at least has some structure. This also doesn't really need to be super accurate, which is why I'm eyeballing most of the measurements. I'm going to be using wood glue for this next bit, and that's because hot glue would set too quickly for what I'm trying to do. It'll take a while for the wood glue to dry, so I'm going to glue everything up, add some weight so nothing moves around, and it should be good to go in the morning.
This sword has been sitting overnight, so the glue should be completely set now. And what I'm about to do is just take the weights off. After that, I should be able to hold it with no problem. Here we are, a big moment. This is where we see if the glue has fully set. Oh yeah. This is awesome. And now that this is all set and good to go, it's time to move on to the final assembly. Let's get started. It came up short. That is no good. I'm going to have to fix that with another sheet of cardboard later. But for now, I should probably just finish up gluing this because I've already started, and at this point it'd be kind of pointless to stop.
These circles don't necessarily need to be perfectly aligned, so I kind of just eyeballed their position, and I think it worked out pretty well. Moving on to the next bit though, these tubes are going to be shoved onto the handle, so round it out a bit and make it more comfortable to hold.
Alright, that just about wraps it up for the glamour roll. I do hope you enjoyed. It was a joy to build this sword. And remember, what's better than one giant sword? That's right, 2 giant swords!
Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me, and I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you're curious as to why I've been wearing sunglasses throughout this entire video, well, my glasses broke, and these have been acting as a stand-in until I get new ones. But don't worry, I did get the new ones, and now I can see clearly again. I figure I should probably conclude this video with a little bit of an update. Just a few changes that I'll be making in the coming year. First of all, I'm going to be doing some very big projects next year. I will give more updates and clues onto what those are maybe another time, but that will be affecting how I upload here on YouTube. Instead of doing it once a month like I have been for the past year, I will be uploading more or less whenever I feel like it. Don't worry, I will still continue to post videos. I do kind of enjoy doing so, but it's just going to be a little while before the next one comes out. I will upload some of my other projects that I'm working on right now, which you will see more in the future. I'll elaborate more on my bigger projects in those videos. But I think that just about wraps up what I've done here for today. I really do hope you enjoyed. I'll see you around in the next one. See ya!